One of the great South Australian teams, of course, in Adelaide, the Adelaide Bite, don't start till November. The catcher, we brought him in from Sydney. It'll be his 4th season with the Bite. We've adopted him. Once you've been in Adelaide more than 2 years, we claim you as one of ours. Chris Adamson's been able to give me some time in the studio. Chris, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your career before we get to your time with the Bite. So, grew up in Sydney?
Yep.
What drew you to baseball?
Literally just a kid that lived down the road. His mum just came down, knocked on the door and asked if I wanted to come along one night, because my old man was a cricketer. He played a bunch of cricket up in the Blue Mountains, and yeah, just kind of tagged along with him one night and loved it and done it ever since.
Stay with it, all right. Yeah. So we accelerate through your junior career, spent some time in the States at Angelo University. Yeah. How'd you enjoy that experience?
Oh, it was amazing, amazing. Just baseball's such a big thing over there too, which I wasn't really used to. So practicing and playing almost every day, and also ended up getting an education out of it too, which was really, really lucky. So it was awesome.
All right, you hear a lot about students that want to go to the States to pursue a sporting career, be it baseball, be it basketball, be it lacrosse for women. I mean, how did a scholarship happen for you?
I was with the New South Wales Institute of Sport for almost 4 years, and a bunch of the college coaches and scouts, they contact the various coaches around the place, and I actually made one of our national squads to go and went and stayed on the Gold Coast for a couple of months, and again a few more coaches, and then some offers kind of started to trickle in just through that, and they kind of just voiced what they needed, and whoever fit the bill kind of got their name put forward, and yeah, just ended up getting a call out of the blue from West Texas one day, and ended up only a couple of months later being on a plane. So
okay, so we went from Texas to Angelo?
Yeah, so Angelo was still in Texas, a little bit more in South Texas, so Southwest Texas, and yeah, it was just an amazing time. Such a different experience for a place that's an English-speaking country. It was just so foreign, really. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I'm talking to you before we come on the show. You seem like a reasonably intelligent guy. Why would you be a catcher? Oh. It seems like such a dangerous spot to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like to be in charge, and there's a bit of a mental aspect that I do like. Again, you can kind of try and outthink the other guy and try and trick some of the hitters and work with the pitchers as well, and just you're kind of in charge of everything. I kind of liked that aspect of it for sure.
I like that bit where you say in charge, because we talk to the pitchers, and Fidji's one of them, of course. He always says he's in charge and you're doing what you're told. Who is actually in charge?
I'll probably have to disagree, and I'll probably have to say that I'm calling the shots there.
You know, for the uneducated, we go and watch the game, we sit there and watch it, and every now and then you see the catcher, you know, give a little signal off here. Is that part of it? You're watching the batter and you're finding the weakness and then working with the pitcher?
Yeah,
How do you signal that? Is there a relationship that you develop over time, or is it through training you've got some calls that you go, you know, this is what we're looking for?
It's a little bit of everything. So understanding obviously the pitcher's strength, that's probably the biggest thing. You know what's their strongest asset. And then I guess with the hitters, you're kind of just trying to determine what they're trying to do, what their strengths are, and trying to stay away from those strengths. But for me, I'd focus more so on the pitcher's ability to execute a pitch and to be able to have some success with what they're actually doing, as opposed to trying to go against someone else's game plan. So stick to what their strength is, and that's probably the biggest aspect of it. All
right, for the pitcher, obviously they can measure his with speed and accuracy. For the catcher, for you, is it how quick out of the glove to get it somewhere?
Yeah.
Is that how they'd decide who is a good catcher? I mean, a lot of other things come into it as well, but that would be a key thing?
Yeah, that's a big aspect. So they do the glove to glove. So once you catch it, how quick you can get it down to the second baseman. So if someone was trying to steal the base, and from there it's around about that 2 second mark. The major league average in the States is right about that 2 seconds flat. So from glove to glove, you've got to be pretty quick. So the stronger your arm, obviously, it makes life a little bit easier, but then obviously some agility with your feet and whatnot helps with that quite a bit also.
All right, the speed of the ball coming in. So for you, you've got to be able to judge it, and the ball moves around. I mean, I think a lot of people think it just comes in straight all the time, but you know it's up, it's down, and the pitchers are clever the way they move it. What's the fastest pitch you reckon you've had come into you? It'd be miles per hour, I would think.
Yeah, probably in miles. I've caught a guy that was about 98 miles an hour, so that's
just
about
shy of 160k.
Yeah, so that was coming in, and I was hoping that everyone went fairly straight and giving me the best chance of actually catching it. But I'll just try and get my body in the way and knock it down whatever way I could. But that's an interesting thing. That's just a God-given talent, being able to throw the ball that hard, that's for sure.
You know, we sit there and watch you with the mask on, and I often wonder how difficult it is to see out of the mask. Is there times where you lose vision of the ball?
Yeah, it can get a little bit challenging at times, and the mask now, a bit more technology's gone into them, so they haven't really sacrificed any strength, and the bars have become a little bit thinner. But even then, it's still a bunch of stuff in there, so you've got to really try and focus the channel on what's actually coming to you and just trying to focus on that as opposed to what's kind of in your peripherals. So it is a challenge, but it's just something you've got to really try and overcome. Yeah.
Finish your time at college. Was there a chance you might have gone to the big show?
I was rather close, yeah. I had some contact with the San Francisco Giants and yeah, had a couple of phone calls and filled out a bunch of paperwork with them, and push came to shove on the draft day and my name didn't get called, so I ended up just going home. But it's just an amazing experience and I gave it everything I had over there, so I mean, there was no regrets on this side of things.
You're pretty close though, all conference. I look up your record, it's all everything. So sometimes it's just a case of, even though you've done really well, it's right place, right time, or it depends, again, I guess what each team's looking for, isn't it?
That's right.
And catches tend to be pretty durable, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things. You've got to be, as you said, right place, right time, but it's just, I guess, having that opportunity to be there, and if they don't need catches, then there's not really a spot for you. And being an Australian, that also makes it harder because there's X amount of visas that get allocated per club, so you can't just go loading up with a whole bunch of imported talent, which is, it'll be nice because maybe a few more guys would get a crack, but unfortunately it's not the case. So just, as I said, they loved every second, have no regrets.
All right, you finished time in the States, you're a Sydney boy.
Yep.
Go home, but you finish up in Adelaide. How does that happen?
I was back home for a little bit and kind of did get itchy feet a little bit, to be honest. And I was talking with the Sydney team a little bit, and there wasn't really a place for me, nor didn't have a huge amount of opportunity, to be honest. I just got a call out of the blue from one of the old assistant coaches, and I knew a couple of guys here. I went to college with one of them, and another one I roomed with at the National Academy. So I kind of just got an offer to come and try out, nothing guaranteed, and just came down and loved everything about this place, like the city itself, and just I ended up falling on my feet with a job as well down here, so here I am almost. Yeah,
Adelaide is a great place to live, there's no doubt about that. So now you've come in into the fourth season carrying a bit of a injured elbow. I'm not imagining that's pretty handy for the catcher, mate. You've got to get it and go. No. Prognosis for the elbow injury?
Well, it's not too good at this point. It's a little bit frustrating to the point where I've kind of disrupted the whole functioning of that joint, so it's a little bit like I can't fully straighten it, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, so I've had to actually take a step back from catching this season, and we've actually got a really good young kid coming through that is perfect to work with at such a young age. I think he's only about 20 or 21, so real good clean slate. He's from the Sturt Baseball Club, and so hopefully him in conjunction with the American catcher that they have coming out, and hopefully I can help out in some capacity.
So stepped into the mentoring role, and you've got a new role as well with the Adelaide Bite, a little bit of coaching coming along the way?
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to get into coaching. I love that aspect of the game, the mental side, and also just the communication that goes with it. I heard you mentioning just before about communication. I think that's a huge aspect of coaching side of things. So not only getting your message across, but finding a way for it to sink in with all different personality styles. So I think that's something that's really important, and hopefully I can learn
from that. Yeah. All right, quick one for you. Obviously you spent some time in the States and you're studying there. You come back here, Australian Institute of Fitness, of course, have been good enough to get you in for us to chat with you. How did you find your degree that you studied in the States lining up with things back here in Australia?
It was actually quite good because I've always been into the whole conditioning of the body, and I studied human movement over there and came down and was actually playing on Fiji's team, and we were just talking one day and it came up that I actually had this degree and he wasn't aware of it. So an opening came up and got the crack, and it pretty much exactly what I've learned is what we're teaching. So all the stuff about, as I say, getting the body ready and all about the different systems in the body and getting it stronger and being able to work a little bit more efficiently. So it's worked out perfectly.
Well, hopefully that elbow will come good for you. Our special guest, of course, Chris Adamson from the Adelaide Bite. November, the season starts. You want to get involved, get down there and get in the shark cage. That's the place to be seen. We'll take a break. Back with more in a moment.